So this was kind of last minute. Let's do our intros actually again because that intro was kind of weak. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in, and so we're gonna be talking about and first, this was kind of last minute. I do have to go more in depth about what I am about to speak about, but let's speak about the wicked fairy godmother of swirling and therefore also of divesting, at least the terminology, right? And the online concept and how it has been able to spread and permeate just so many different spaces on these interwebs. Um, Miss Crystalline Kerosene. Oh boy. Not her, Z. Yes. Miss at her computer desk, getting lit, getting drunk. Um, so my suggested, unfortunately, suggested to me a video by Miss Crystalline Kerosene, where the first thing Miss Crystalline Kerosene wants to do with this technology that we're finding out is about to replace a whole lot of journalists. What are you talking about, Mr. Z? GPT, CPT, right? Um, so Miss Kerosene uses this technology, and the first thing she wants to do with it is guess what? Find out how much interracial relationships or marriages are going on with black women. Yes. The first thing she wants to do with this technology is find out how much black women are swirling. Yawn. But even with that, um, so as I said before, she's looks like she's getting a little drunk at her desk computer or if it's her laptop, and she's speaking about this, and this lady doesn't learn. Ma'am, you yourself at least pretended to be appalled by the divestors in their insane rhetoric. You've been on this road for a couple decades. You probably lost a marriage to the type of white man you claim you wanted and you've been throwing in black men's faces for the past couple decades. You probably lost your marriage because of this. You probably lost your older daughter because of this. No, from my understanding, her older daughter hasn't passed, but her older daughter was part of a this kind of polygamous or polyandrous or whatever the hell type of relationship, right? So Miss Kerosene, who's the birth mother and the godmother of this recent phenomenon of swirling, we'll say. She's been doing this even before she was known on the internet in this way. From my understanding, she was on what MTV or VH1, one of those, um, speaking about this swirling thing a couple decades ago, right? And you would have thought she learned, and apparently not. So even after a failed marriage with the white guy, she still doesn't get it. Now, what comes out her mouth in her intro is all the usual, y'all said we couldn't do it. Y'all said it's some weird ass like motivational talk, right? Like she sounds like a weird motivational speaker to her audience. Y'all said we couldn't do it, right? Y'all called us ugly. Y'all call it. Look, man, Miss Crystalline Kerosene may not be the most attractive woman on the planet, but I highly doubt people were calling her ugly. Number one. Number two, what is up with these people in like making this stuff? Look, I'm a black man. I grew up in America, born and raised in America. You're hard pressed to find a whole lot of middle age, I mean, not, excuse me, not middle age, but middle school and older people walking up to girls and calling them ugly. Straight up to their face, call them ugly. Not in elementary school, not when you haven't learned discipline in that way yet, not in preschool, no. Middle school and older, definitely high school, just straight up calling a young woman at that time ugly, let alone as an adult calling a black woman straight up ugly. And is this Mr. Z mansplaining and discounting some of the experiences of black women? Possibly. But straight up unprovoked calling a black woman ugly? These women act like black men are walking up to them, tapping on them shoulder and just being like, hey, you know you're ugly, right? I just want you to know, before you go to sleep at peace tonight, I just want you to know you're ugly. I just want you to know I'm disgusted by your face. Oh, and I'm disgusted by your shape. You know, I got into a situation with a someone close to me a couple years ago, and they swore I said something that I didn't say, right? Almost to the point where it almost made me doubt if I said it or not. And when I realized, oh, you did not say that, Z, I realized that the person was so invested in the look on the look on my face might have said something. But the words, Mr. Z moving his lips and uttering a particular phrase did not happen. And it was frightening to me when I really sat down and thought about it. That you were so invested in this narrative and you were so emotional about this. You felt a certain way, right? Whether it was sadness and anger or a mixture of the two about this situation, that you had imagined Z saying this thing, and you had imagined it so thoroughly that you convinced yourself that this is what happened. And that was frightening. That was truly frightening. And I would submit to you that some of what we're being told is happening between black men and black women in particular may not be, particularly coming from the women, may not actually be happening, right? Now, are less black men approaching you than maybe who they consider the cute friend in your friend circle? Yeah. Are you in diverse environments, read white environments, and black men and other men of color are approaching your white friend, and you're reading that, or your light-skinned friend, and you're reading that as them calling you ugly? Possibly, right? Or calling you unattractive or calling you unappealing? Possibly. But are black men out and out looking you in the face and calling you ugly as adults in a club? I highly doubt it. That's really difficult to believe. Not saying it never happens, not saying it's not possible, but highly unlikely. Probable? Right? So, tying that back to Miss Crystalline Karazin and chat, is it chat CPT for my tech heads, for my STEM guys? And so the first thing Miss Crystalline Karazin does is try to work with chat CPT, I think it is. And she is CPT or GPT, if I'm not mistaken. But she types in what is the interracial marriage rate for black men and or for black men, or what is the interracial marriage rate for black women? And I think it came up with 25 to the most recent information, at least with that chat CPT, I think it is. Chat GPT. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Akoteki. But the most recent information, at least that chat GPT came up with, is that it was 24% for black women and 22% for black men. Now, let's pause right here. The most recent information that we have from actual researchers, even as Pew Research, was either 2017 or 2018, 12% of married black women, listen again, of the black women that got married, I think the year before, 12% of them married outside of their race. Once again, of the black women that got married in a 1 year span, if Mr. Z isn't mistaken, 12% of them were interracial marriages. Conversely, 24% of the black men that got married, I think it was the year before also again, right? So if it was 2018, the research was done in 2017, was of 2017, excuse me. And if it was 2017, the research was done of 2016. But of the year before, 24% of black men married interracially. Now with Miss Crystalline Karazin and ChatGPT, if they are to be believed, within a 5-year or so span, 6-year or so span, black women's interracial marriage rate doubled. Not even doubled, because that was 12% for 1 year. And black women's overall interracial marriage rate was still something like 9% or something like that. So it more than doubled. Mr. Z math might be a little off. Granted, my math might be a little off. Either way, what we're supposed to believe is that a quarter of black women that got married recently, definitely over the past year, but recently, a quarter of black women, because if it's 24%, we might as well round up to 25. A quarter of black women that got married outside of their race. That's what we're supposed to believe in this society where marriage rates are going down across the board, but somehow magically interracial marriage rates are rising in America for black women. Okay, right? Okay. And this is the first thing Miss Crystalline Karazin decides to research with ChatGPT, right? And y'all excuse my background, I'm on the road right now. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So the first thing she does is look up the interracial marriage rate for black women, black men. Oh yeah. And from what we're understanding, and I think it was Asian women also. We're going to get into this. Okay. Now, from what Miss Karazin PT say, and 22% of black men interracially married, which would mean that the interracial marriage rate for black women doubled from the most recent data that we can find anywhere on the interwebs. Black women's interracial marriage rate doubled according to ChatGPT, right? And Miss Karazin. And black men's interracial marriage rate actually went down, because the most recent data that we have, from my understanding, Pew Research, very reputable research, right? Black men had interracially married at 24%. So it went down 2%. That's plausible. But black women's doubled. Okay, all right. Asian women's interracial marriage rate was 28% now. Last time Mr. Z checked, nowhere were Asian women's interracial marriage rate less than a third. So once again, the data show from what Mr. Z has seen, 54% of American-born Asian women married outside of their race, according to Pew Research. I think in that 1 year span, if not, that are married outside of their race. And I don't think it was that. I think it's in that 1 year span. 54% of American-born Asian married outside of their race in that 1 year span. The overall interracial marriage rate for Asian women was something like 34, 30, some 39, 34%, something around a third or maybe a little bit more. But yet ChatGPT is saying it's lower than that at 28%. Something is not right here, right? Something is not right here. Why this matters is that even at Miss Karazin's big age, even though you can see her aging, right? That black don't crack is starting to crack, right? She's still on the same thing that got her to where she is now, that got her sitting in front of her computer or her laptop with a glass of wine, looking like a drunk white mother, which is probably her goal in life, swaying towards the end of her broadcast, left and right, looking drunk as hell, like mission accomplished. This is loser talk. This is out of touch and loser talk, right? So Miss Karazin, even though she herself, if she's to be believed, was appalled by the divestors, right? She's still talking this foolish crap. Lady, you're weird. You've been weird. You did marry the white dude. You threw in black men's faces every chance you got. And now you don't got no man, from our understanding. And if you do, he need to take that glass. But you don't got no man. Okay, like Mr. Z always says, just because you're single doesn't mean you're lonely, doesn't mean you're miserable. There are plenty of single folks that are, perfectly okay with being single. Although we're finding out maybe they're fronting a little bit. Shout out to Miss Tracy Ellis Ross and Taraji and Vivica A. Fox. Yeah. Right? So Miss Karazin, in her 40s now, something like that, got to be at least late 40s now, right? Maybe even early 50s, but somewhere around her late 40s. She still is on this. Crystalline Karazin is the birth of so many of these weirdos on the interwebs, on social media, on YouTube. She's the godmother of a lot of these weirdos. These weirdo black women, right? Her talking points have permeated so much of the interweb amongst black women in particular, and has spread all through, and she's still on it, right? So Miss Crystalline Karazin is going to go to the grave with this. Now, how much is ChatGPT probably correct? Probably not. The interracial marriage rate increasing for black women as the marriage rate in America goes down? Yeah, probably not. Probably not, right? But you let Miss Karazin tell it, right? Mr. Z got to do evasive maneuvers because I'm cutting off like the whole world right now. And did I fit? Did I fit? I fit. No, you're giving me that player. I got it. I'm already in. I'm already in. Let it go. Let it go. There we go. All right. So, yeah. When you like speed and cut off like a whole lane of cars that were waiting their turn. But yeah. Okay. So, Miss Karazin just doesn't get it. And this speaks to the jihad that I spoke of a couple days ago, that some of these women are waging. Particularly, I was speaking about on that video, Kim from Fort Harriet. And we know Miss Karazin's story, got pregnant somewhat young, young adult, from a black man. That's who her oldest daughter's father is. Then turned around, found a lick in this white dude, was married to him for some time. They got divorced semi-recently, within the past few years. She's been dating around. We know that she was dating some white dude who some brother was chastising, and he messed around and called himself an inward lover while on the live with Crystalline Karazin. From our understanding, she's no longer with that dude, but probably could still be, because some of these divestors and swirlers get off on that weird slave play and mammy talk. So, with that, we know Miss Crystalline's story. She said it. We got other people who've kind of been keeping tabs on her for the past couple decades, so we know her story. And she still hasn't learned. And the first thing she wants to do with this kind of cutting edge technology, is look up what the interracial marriage rate is for black women and attempt to throw that in black men's face. Again, madam, you've been throwing in black men's faces, or attempting to, it's been failing. You've been trying to throw in black men's faces how much interracial sex black women are getting. You've been trying to throw in black men's faces the interracial marriage rate. You've been trying to throw in black men's faces um black non-black men loving on black women, building for black women. You've been trying to throw in black men's faces the how low the divorce rate is for black women and non-black men, particularly white men. You've been doing this ad nauseum. Now you're using Chat GPT to attempt to throw in black men's faces the recent interracial marriage rate numbers, and that's if Chat GPT is to be believed, right? This is some weirdo talk, ma'am. This is some weirdo talk. So as the marriage rate in America goes down, the interracial marriage rate in America is going to increase. So your ideological children, even though you're with them now, Paramount, Cynthia G, Chrissy, Real Talk with Yanni, they're all on the same thing you are on, and there's no evidence to show this. You have Real Talk with Yanni, who supposedly used to be pro-black and is now advocating for black women to divest. You have Paris Milan, who's married to a Nigerian or Nigerian descent man, who's also advocating for black women to divest. You have Chrissy, who's low-key chastising her followers and subscribers because they're not divesting, which you yourself said a lot of these women are just talk, they're not divesting, right? And you spoke about their weight, etc., right? You got Cynthia G, who's also advocating for her subscribers to divest, and abort black male sons, and now abort black male daughter. I mean, women, black girls, black daughters, right? So you created these people, ideologically at least, or you helped to move them along. Some of their first interactions with this kind of conversation has been you. They stole your thunder, pretty much stole your message. Oh man, I'm looking at the new Hummer, you guys. I'm telling you, living in South Florida. It's at a wash house. Car wash, right? Yep. Over $100,000, 1,000 horsepower, size of Jupiter, train tracks, SUV or truck or SUV truck thing that weighs like 9,000 pounds, right? So, continuing. Miss Karazin, apparently you're going to continue doing or sounding like you sound for the foreseeable future, and this is unfortunate. You know, and it's not. Let's be very clear. If you look at Miss Karaz's numbers, she's not doing numbers. She's not doing Real Talk with Yanni's numbers. She's not doing Paris Milan's numbers. You know, Miss Karazin has been around since Black Manosphere 1.0, really predates Black Manosphere 1.0, but you know, different people have engaged with her. BGS has, Sergeant Willie Pete has, you know, for those of us that remember the Brother Avenue rant, a bunch of people have gone back and forth with her throughout the time. You know, people have mentioned her. I think Obsidian, definitely Kevin Samuels. She was on Kevin Samuels. She was supposed to come back on. She didn't. She's been on Tommy Sotomayor has spoken about her. The brother Jason Black has spoken about her. We're one of the most hysterical. If y'all could find it, it is absolutely hysterical. The brother Jason Black covered her when she did her apology video after the Veganator flamed her ass and her subscribers. Right, that was one of the funniest things on the Black internet. Right, like that was the Black web. That was one of the Jason has his own brand of humor. He's not particularly funny, but like when he is funny, it's funny, right? And that was one of the funniest, right? Watching um Jason just review her video, and she was on Jason's channel also. If I'm not mistaken, that was a year ago, a couple years ago, actually. Also, right? She was on the business, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, and this lady, one thing you got to give her, she's gonna die on this hill, and it doesn't matter what the reality is. So I wanted to come to you guys with what ChatGPT was saying, to say we know ChatGPT is probably a little off, a lot off, but that's okay, because it's not really about ChatGPT. It's about Miss Karazin using this recent, breaking new cutting edge technology, and the first thing she wants to do with it is find out how much black women are in interracial marriages with non-black men. Let's be honest, y'all know it's white men. Y'all know, right? And this is the first thing she wants to do with this technology, right? And it's weird, and it's because she's weird. Miss Karazin, you have at least one adult daughter, at least one. I think about two of your kids would be considered adults at this point, right? And you're still on this. You already have the failed marriage with the white guy, and you're still on this. You had a white man call himself an inward lover for being in a whatever situation he was in with you, and you're still on this. You're at your computer or your laptop getting drunk while speaking, while typing to ChatGPT and attempting to find out what the interracial marriage rate is for black women, and you're still on this. Madam, it ain't looking good. Madam, it ain't looking good. Right? And this happens often in AB Media. Shout out to AB Media 83, right? My millennial brother. AB Media says, and she cheated with black. And I wouldn't be surprised if she cheated on her white ex-husband with a black dude for real. Man, this is why a lot of those white guys are fearful to be in relationships with black women, because they know y'all full of crap too. Y'all are in marriages with stand-up black men, and y'all cheat on them with white men. Y'all are in marriages with your dream white dude, right? The white dudes y'all throw in black men's faces, and y'all cheat on them with black dudes, right? The same black dudes you swear off be having you swearing in ecstasy. God damn, Mr. Z. The same type of black men. Y'all are some weird people. Crystalline Karazin still hasn't gotten over her ex-baby daddy, and we all know it. And she know it. And her daughter, her oldest daughter, probably know it too. And her ex-husband, her white ex-husband, probably just realized that in divorce court, at least, or maybe he realized it and that's why they got divorced. That this whole campaign about swirling and divesting, well, swirling that birth divesting, comes from one weirdo black woman in California who got her little heart broken by a brother she was messing with, who himself, from my understanding, isn't some pookie and is successful in his own right. And so one angry, bitter black woman is who we should give thanks to for all of the weirdo stuff coming from these swirlers, divestors. If you really want to attach the black women in luxury to her also, and the black women level up, because all of those kind of stem from swirling. And on the interweb, there has been no person And I'll give her that with a bigger impact in that type of conversation. Or the once again, I call her the birth mother of this kind of ideology, right? And KW Don, shout out to KW Don, and thank you for the super chat. Says Crystalline Karazun will have to fall on her own sword. Brother, she's already fallen on her own sword. She's already fell on it. She's already been impaled by her own sword. What is it called again? For my kind of Japanese files. What not sample? What is it called when they lose a battle and they self delete in front of the front of the person, right? I forgot the term. I'm not even gonna try to attempt to say it, right? And Go Professor is here. Y'all remember what Mr. Z said? Every time Go Professor shows up, I'm gonna tell y'all Go Professor is the reason why Mr. Z has a channel, right? He was the first person to suggest that Mr. Z has a channel. Nameless was second. Nameless backed him up. Y'all send all y'all hate mail to Go Professor, right? Go Professor says money for the plate. Gold Professor, thank you, Gold Professor, right? So, right, and so Crystalline Karazin is much of the reason you have all of this wayward stuff coming from particular black women on the internet. She's the fairy godmother, right? The wicked godmother of all of this, or of a lot of this, or most of it, right? And would there have been another person if it wasn't Crystalline Karazin? Probably, right? But is Mr. Z surprised by Crystalline Karazin? No, right? No, not at all. Not at all, right? And so we have to deal with a bunch of wayward, weird, infantilized, um, talk about emotionally unintelligent, um, people that have like arrested development of their emotions. We have to deal with these 20 something, 30 something, 40 something year old women who have been on the internet for the past couple decades that are emotionally still 12 years old because whatever black boy didn't like them in middle school or in high school. We have to deal with them and their constant nonsense because the battery in their back is Miss Crystalline Karazin. Sempuku, Seppuku. Thank you, better you. I thought it was that, but I didn't want to say it because when you're like, right? I think, but I don't know, right? And thank you, Emerald Edge, also, right? But yeah, so she's fallen on her sword already. She's fallen on her sword already. Life has caused her to fall on her sword. And she's still on what she's on because it's about ideology. It's about ideology, right? Miss, Mr. Z engages in this a lot. So let me talk about myself here. When Mr. Z speaks about the interracial marriage rate and the data and what we can see and what's visible and observable and reality, many black women, and I saw this with the conversation I had with a couple of young ladies on the breakdown with the two sisters, but it was two women that came on and we were speaking, and they see it as insulting because what they are hearing is these other men don't want you, and that, but they don't. They're racist. They're anti-black as hell. Mr. Z, they can't be that anti-black. Clearly they are. That's why I bring up Loving versus Virginia. That's why I bring up 1967. They've had at least legal access to you for over 50 years. White men could have came and swept up all the black women. They could have swept up all black women over the past over 50 years. And they didn't. Even in this late date, we're in 2023. That is 56 years ago. Depending on the month, 55 years ago. And they still are not marrying black women at the rate they're marrying East Asian women in particular. Even though East Asian women are what, half of black women's percentage in America, percent of the population, if even less than that, because the overall Asian population is what, 7 or 8% or something like that. So half of that is like 4%, and that's all Asian. So we just focus on East Asian women in particular. What is that? And even with that, white men are scooping up every East Asian they could touch. Yes, they are that anti-black. And when black women hear Mr. Z say that, they think it's an insult. Notice what Mr. Z doesn't. I don't speak about your weight. I occasionally speak about your attitude, but I don't speak about your weight. Because quite frankly, for the white guys, it ain't even that. It's that they're anti-black. They're not interested in that way. They created a system against your ancestors. Maybe you don't realize that because you're a black woman and you swear to God that it's only black men. No, it's mainly black men. It's mostly black men. And depending on the white man, this is gonna sound so, y'all get ready to almost throw up. Depending on the white man, and some of y'all already know where Mr. Z is gonna go to this. Depending on the white man, if you had to give him a choice of who he'd rather have bedroom fun with, he'll choose a black man. Ugh. Ugh. Even the purported straight black white men. Ugh. That's why Mr. Z is doing that. Shout out to all the LGBTQ brothers and sisters out there. I'm not making fun of you, but y'all know what Mr. Z just said was true. Y'all know what Mr. Z said was true. Some of your purported straight white men secretly, y'all know what they on. Y'all understand what, and I'm not saying because it's a power thing for them. So let's be very clear what Mr. Z is saying. Right? And even with all of that, you still have the crystalline charisms of the world speaking the way she does. To the point she's literally, y'all understand, do y'all understand how weird this is? Okay, let me break it down. Let me go into some detail. A real living, breathing human being that exists in the 21st century who's been in relationship with both black men and white men is so hell-bent on proving a particular point that they're interacting with a chat bot to try to find out what the interracial marriage rate is for black women, to then throw in black men's faces and tell other black women who think like her and feel like her, we're all right, everything's all right, it's all good, there's nothing wrong here, nothing to see here. I told y'all I was right. Look, the chat bot said our interracial marriage rate is 24%. Where is the nameless protagonist when you need him? This is some weirdo stuff. We don't even need the goggles yet, the right virtual reality on that level yet. These people are already living some type of alternative in their minds. They're already engaging with technology for the escapism. I mean, like, we already know this. A lot of people are. Right? This is weird. And Mr. Z would continue to say it. I'm not saying these people are weird or this is weird just to say it or I don't have the vocabulary. No, this is weird. And these people are weird. These people are weird. Crystalline Karazin's weird, y'all. Chrissy is weird, y'all. Cynthia G is weird, y'all. Paris Milan is weird. Real Talk with Yanni is weird. I gotta cover the video where she slipped up and spoke about, being celibate. It's killing her. If she's truly celibate, shout out to you, Real Talk with Yanni. The way it kind of slipped in there, I gotta hurry up and save it before she delete that video. These people are weird, and there's nothing wrong with being celibate or being a virgin. And for those of you that are, nothing wrong with that. But when it's because you waging a jihad against black men, or you angry and you throwing a temper tantrum at the world because you can't get the type of man you want because you're delusional and you're extra sassy and kind of mean, right? And G says, "Link Z, I'm gonna be out in a minute, G. So I'm not having anybody come up yet, right? I might do a video later on tonight, so I might have some people come up later." Oh, Better you remember me saying that? Better you says Cynthia G is Bobby's mom from Bobby's World. I'm telling you, yo, listen to her voice. Don't you know? I remember the first time I said that, I think Indigo Flow said that. Right? Maybe that was Cynthia G's dream son if she was to have a son. We never saw, from my understanding, we never saw Bobby's World, his mom's face, right? Although we know she was a white woman, maybe that was Cynthia G playing her voice for all we know. Cynthia G got a time machine, went back into the 90s and played Bobby's World's mom, right? But this is weird, and I wanna stress this, um, dear black women, if you really want to be with a white man or a non-black man, cool. We live in a free country. Do your thing, have fun, cool. The jihad y'all are waging against black men is gonna hurt you more than black men, as evidenced by Crystalline Karazin's life, as evidenced by Chrissy's love life or lack thereof or dating life, right? Did they? Big Game says they showed Bobby's mom's face. I gotta go back. I'll YouTube it after this, right? Look at Cynthia G. Y'all remember when Dr. Umar brought up her mental health? And she was like, "We're not talking about my mental health right now." Because you're gone and you know you are. You're gone. I bet you got a petri dish of pills that you need to take in the morning. You're probably not taking them. That's why you sound the way you do. Y'all listen to Chrissy. She don't sound gone. Listen to Kim from Fort Harriet. She don't sound gone. And she don't even, from my understanding, she's never been with a white man or a non-black man. These people are weird. Listen to Chrissy sounds weird. Yanni. The further down she go in this rabbit hole. Paris Milan, don't be careful. She gonna mess around and destroy her marriage just like probably Crystalline Karazin did. You keep talking reckless because I see you and Cynthia G taking shots at each other. Cool, but keep talking like you above it. You're not above it. You're still young-ish. I think she's in her absolute latest of 20s, right? She about to turn 30 in a year or two, like 28, 29 or something. Paris Milan, don't find out the hard way what life is. Don't get decked in the face by life, Paris Milan. You talking crazy like you above a bunch of these things happening to you? That Nigerian dude, his family pressed him to divorce you, and guess what? And you're pregnant with his kid, just like that, you're a single mom. It's that easy. Something unfortunate happened to him, and you're a widow, but ain't nobody trying to hear that. Be careful. That's why as much as I go in on this system, I'm still careful what I say. I don't talk like I'm above it. Mr. Z real, I'm not above it. And it didn't take life punching me in the face a few times for me to get it. Have I been punched in the face? Yeah, we all have. If you're a black man, you got knocked in the head a couple times by life, right? Only one or two things, and you Cynthia G, Miss Paris Milan. All these people, in you know, they should have never gave you niggas money. They should have never gave you niggas the internet. Because y'all sound insane. Crystalline Kerosene is what, approaching 50, if not 50 yet? And she's interacting with a chat bot just to say, look at our interracial marriage rate, black men. You thought we couldn't do it. What are you, winning a trophy? You weirdo. This ain't track and field, lady. And what is that interracial? Once again, the interracial marriage rate, according to Miss Crystalline Kerosene and Chat GPT, is going up while the marriage rate is going down. Huh. Okay. Some 50 some odd percent of Latinas have children out of wedlock from Latinos. Okay. All right. The birth out of wedlock rate is going skyrocketing for white women because of white men and white women's relationship. Okay. We already know what it is for black men and black women. So the marriage rate is going through the floor. White men aren't trying to marry their own white women. And yet Miss Crystalline Kerosene knows this. And she still says and advocates for black women to attempt to marry white men and marry out interracially. Right? This is why I call these people weirdos. Most of the people Mr. Z goes in on are not dumb. Some of them are not even uneducated. Some of them aren't even uninformed. I see more and more Real Talk with Yanni kind of listening to different things and she's reviewing different things. And even with that, somehow, if y'all remember, for those of you, it might have been only a handful of you that remember Mr. Z saying this on the Roger Report, maybe 2 years ago, 2 years ago, maybe. Right? Maybe 2 years ago, y'all might have remember Mr. Z saying something along the lines of like, leave it up to these type of people, these particular women, these particular type of black women, to have 7 or 8 or 9 doors in front of them and go to the wrong door every single time. Why is Mr. Z saying that? Like I said, you got Real Talk with Yanni, even Mahogany Pink, who from our understanding is somewhere, you know. Okay, so okay. All right. Sandog said email sent. Yeah, I was looking for the email. I'm like, where's the email? Okay. I'll check my email after the broadcast. God damn it, Jason Black, you got me saying broadcast now. Um, so you know, damn, I'm losing my train of thought. What was Mr. Z just saying? God damn, it was very important. Oh yeah, these people, some of them are educated. Mahogany Pink, from our understanding, is somewhere in academia, right? Moving and shaking, tutoring on some level. And she even at the end of one of her videos references kind of what's going on economically in this society and how other women, other non-black women are starting to lower their standards a bit because what they're asking for is just not going to happen, and they realize it. And even with that, Miss Mahogany Pink says essentially we're going to stand on our square. We ain't budging. So even when these people know the numbers and they read the articles and they watch the documentaries and they watch the video speaking about what's going on the planet, in the Western world, in America, they still say, yeah, that just doesn't apply to me. Courtney Ryan speaking to these women, asking them what they want, and as a white woman calmly saying, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Here's the numbers. Here's the likeliness. Like it's not impossible for you, but the likeliness, ugh. And even with that, what you find, those women damn near want to cry when they find out how delusional they are, particularly the black ones. Not even the black ones don't even sound like they want to cry. The black ones damn near throw a fit and say, yeah, I ain't budging. This is what I'm on. This is what I'm on. And there's nothing wrong with that, except you make everyone's life miserable around you because you can't get what you want, and what you want is based off a delusion. That's the only reason Mr. Z covers these type of things. If it was just an individual and they couldn't get what they want and they lost their mind in their house and then they self-deleted themselves without affecting anyone else, maybe outside of their immediate family and circle, that would be a different conversation. That would be a completely different conversation. If we could put you in a straitjacket and kind of, isolate you from society, which is still unfortunate, by the way. Still kind of sad. But that's a different conversation than this. Than people that are mad at the world, particularly mad at black men, because black men can't make them upper middle class and rich white women to look down on everybody else with their teacup dog in their Birkin bag. Right? And so this delusion has just been able to permeate society. And it all starts on the internet, at least, with the wicked godmother of swirlerism, Miss Crystalline Kerosene. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Miss Crystalline Kerosene. So this is why it matters. This is why Mr. Z covers it and covers these type of things. This lady has had a great impact on these interwebs, on social media. She is the birth mother for a lot of this weirdo stuff. And we're watching it eat her alive, and she's still on it. And her ideological daughters will watch her fall off the cliff based off her own concepts. Will watch her either end up with a black man and backtrack just a little bit to save face, or end up passing unhappy, borderline sounding like Eartha Kitt, and they will watch these two realities, and they will still continue on the road they're on like nothing happened. Let alone the ideological daughters of, or the ideological granddaughters of Miss Kerosene, who may not really understand her impact and how they're just spewing out something she's been saying forever. That doesn't work. Because if you're insufferable, ladies, you're insufferable. If you are insufferable, ladies, you are insufferable. And so many of you, let's be clear what you're really looking for. You think you're going to get a discount from a rich white. What you're really looking for is an upper middle class or rich, right? Dumb, naive, lame white dude who don't really understand the goings on in the black community. And so you could hop, jump, skip out of the black community to a white man, to a Latino man, to an Asian man who doesn't really understand the dynamics of this community. And you think you're going to get a discount for being sassy, for being mean, for maybe being unkept. And you still want the upper middle class or rich white man because you want him to pay off all that debt you probably got. Consumer debt, student loan debt, etc., etc. Right? That's why you want the white man. And what we find out more and more, what did y'all find out from the dude from the nice guy? Or the try or whatever his name was. She and his wife with the Asian girl, with the Asian woman, got caught and then cheated again publicly. So whimsical. He's out in public kissing her up. Right? Y'all think black men are players? Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. You think black men are players? Shout out to all of us who have or have had white friends and white associates. Some of them who had the deadbeat white dad. Some of them who are super players. And their game is different than our game. Their game is played into, oh, I'm not like them black guys. Right? And God forbid. Okay, let me say this because it needs to be said. Dear women of color, particularly black women, if you're dealing with a good-looking, over 6 feet tall, successful white man, he's not faithful. Point blank, period. Beginning, end. What about? Nope, there ain't no what about. He's not faithful. First of all, he's probably not in an exclusive relationship. Secondly, in this society, yeah. God forbid he's charismatic. Huh. So, Miss Crystalline Kerrison has helped to create all of this, and she still don't get it. And she's already impaled herself on this sword, and she still don't get it. And she's gonna die on this hill, and that's cool. Oh well. And Victor Creed says, "Thank you for the super chat, brother." Victor Creed says, "The monarch of trauma bonding on the interwebs, pretty much. It really is the black men I want, the black men I think I deserve, aren't interested in me, and it's not fair, and yada yada yada, and cry, 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 and whine, whine, whine. And so all of you black men are colorists, and all of you black men are fat phobic. Black men are like shout out to Charles Faulkner Jr. Black men are like the trash man of men, and so they will date and have sex with like anything. So it's really hard to believe that black men are the fat phobic people in America. Meanwhile, white men make fun of black men for dating heavyset and marrying heavyset women of varying races, including obviously black women. Meanwhile, all other men in America make fun of black men for dating heavyset white women, black women, Latina women, Asian women. But black women call black men fat phobic. Okay. Because of the one or two cousins we have with the heavyset white woman, as if he wouldn't be with a heavyset black woman. Y'all are weird. And Victor Creed is right. Matriarch of trauma bonding. What these black men haven't done for you. And even Miss Crystalline Kerrison had to concede that most of these women are just talk. Even Chrissy, in her chastising her subscribers and pretty much saying, stop talking about it, be about it. That's her conceding that most of these women are talking about it. Chrissy, what I think you miss is these women are still getting piped down by some of these white guys. They just not getting the relationship. Or they have the situationship, not the relationship, the situationship, and they just not getting the wedding. Right? They're just not getting the wedding. So to call black men of all people fat phobic, to say black women are loyal, we got data to show that. You notice they're not really saying that anymore. Some women that really aren't in the know, that aren't on the internet and on social media in that way, still talk like that. But for anybody that kind of occupies this back and forth between black women and black men on the internet, y'all notice they not talking about loyalty no more. Shout out to the elder BGS. They done got bust out. You can't call it loyalty no more. Y'all just a bunch of soon to be Halle Berrys and K Michelle's. Black men ain't ish. Black men hurt me. End up with the white dude. Now it's men ain't ish. Oops. Black men are abusive. Black men don't build. Black men don't do this. Black men don't do that. A couple of failed situationships and relationships with non-black men, particularly white men, and now it's men ain't ish. Or, our favorite, it's still black men ain't ish, and the reason why these people are unsuccessful in their interracial marriages and interracial relationships and interracial situationships is because these non-black men don't take black women seriously because black men haven't built Wakanda. Oh yeah, it's been said. It's been implied. Right? So y'all like, share, subscribe on the way out. About to come to a close, and yeah. So this is unfortunate. Seeing this woman get older in front of our eyes, sound more unhinged. Now she's speaking to a chatbot, cutting edge technology, and the first thing she want to do with the cutting edge technology is try to find out what the interracial marriage rate is for black women, so she doesn't feel like her life's mission wasn't in vain. Oh, brother, I'm about to close out. And Mugen Combat says, finally caught alive. Oh, you caught the tail end. Right? So yeah. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. You know, hey, but they say I report, you decide. I'm just telling y'all what it is. Right? Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate. This is sad, y'all. Like, when I say these things are sad, I know a lot of brothers, they chuckle, and it's like, I'm not saying it because I don't have other words. It's the best word to describe this to me, right? Kaneda. Let's see, we got it this time. Super sticker from Kaneda. Thank you for the super sticker, brother. Did I say it the right way this time? Let's see if I got it going the right way. Right? Let's see. I'm waiting to see if I said it the right way this time again, because I've been practicing. Okay. And the Raj report said situationship is just a cover word for saying I'm familiar with dick, but dick won't publicly claim me. And Raj has said that before, right? Pretty much, exactly. Pretty much. Pretty much, exactly. And you see, Raj paid for that comment because he wanted it to be public, and I'm gonna keep it up just for you, Raj. I'm gonna keep it up, right? So when if for the because my female subscriber base ranges sometimes it's weird because like it'll show like 1%, 3%, but then by the end of the month it'll show like 15%, 11%, 9%. So it's I don't know how it's reading. I got to do some research on how it reads these things, but for the whatever percentage that channel and actually watch and they watch this video up until this point, they will see. And I agree with Raj on this, right? So they will see what Rod said. And let me read it one more time. Situationship, in quotes, is just a cover word for saying I'm familiar with dick, but dick won't publicly claim me. Exactly. Right? Exactly. And that's unfortunate, right? Once again, you know, to Miss Crystal and Kerosene, we watch other women pretty much run with your movement, take your movement, sprinkle whatever they're going to sprinkle on it, their own interpretation, and run with it. Your ideological daughters sound even more unhinged than you do. And that's saying something. That's saying a lot, right? Your ideological daughters sound even more unhinged than you do. You birthed this, and you're going to down the hill with this, even though it doesn't necessarily look like it's working out for you. If you and that white man were, if you were to be believed, you would have never been divorced from your white husband. And here you are on the interwebs, on your camera, getting drunk, chatting to a chat bot about black women's interracial marriage rate. This is weird loser activities, man. This is weird loser behavior. You put out books. You've been doing videos forever. You were on shows. You've been, and look at you now. Look at you now. This is weird. And as your children get older and as all of them leave the house and you're left there by yourself with just your thoughts and your feelings, oh. Hmm. One of the most sobering, humbling experiences is watching your ideology get thrown back in your face and you were wrong. It's happened to all of us at least once. Watching your beliefs get thrown back in your face and you were wrong. It's best when it happens in a short term, when you only believe in something for 6 months a year, or you only believe something for 6 months a year, maybe a couple years. But when you spend your life on a mission and you refuse to acknowledge the clear and evident, right? It's unfortunate. And Better You says, speaking of books, I published my second earlier today. And I agree with Spain Man. Drop the link and then I'm going to close out. So I'm giving you a little bit of time to drop the link, Better You. So, yeah. Oh, there we go. All right, y'all. All right. Y'all look that up. And on that note, love, peace, and chicken grease. Raj, give me a minute. I got to go run and do something real quick. Give me like 10 minutes, Raj, and I'm going to hit you up. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll pause right there. Y'all go check out Manosphere content, Black Manosphere content, better yet. Y'all go check out Black Manosphere content and non-Manosphere content so you please don't sound like Miss Crystal and Kerosene. Right? We don't need unhinged brothers here. Right? No problem, Better You. No problem. Right? And Better You says, thanks for the shout out. Right? So, unfortunately, we got Crystal and Kerosene and her, what, acolytes, I guess? But in many ways, they surpassed her. Their numbers, probably how much they're making, right? Many of the people that listen to her ideological descendants don't even know who Crystal and Kerosene is. So there's that. And we'll truly pause right there. Unfortunately, we have to contend with people like this in the Black community. Weirdo people who are still heartbroken about an event from 20 plus years ago. Anyway, all right, y'all. And I'll truly pause right there. Right. I'll truly pause right there. And Mr. Z out. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day.